So, here's my 1970 Toyota Land Cruiser. It's actually in pretty nice shape. We got it from Cruiser Solutions. They had actually picked it up from a guy when they sold him one of their conversions. So this is not one of their restorations, but this is somebody else's. And it's actually, the body's really nice. We had to work out a couple of small details. I pulled the carburetor out because it's too much of a pain in the butt to work with. But other than that, mechanically it's pretty nice. Everything works out pretty well in there. I brought an extinguisher because whenever you change a carburetor out, it's really a good idea during the maiden voyage just to carry that with you, because you never know when something might go bad. You can see it's got the long bench seats in the back. Everything's fairly well functional here. I'm going to pull that blanking plate out because I actually have a stock Toyota stereo from my 1982 unit, and I'm going to put that right in there. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's got a stereo hidden in here already, which I won't tell you. It's hidden in the glove compartment. Super sneaky. But it'll make it look a lot more stock having the stereo there instead of that plated diamond plate. I had mentioned in one of the other videos I was having some issues with the fuel. And just to show you, right down here, that's the fuel switch. You have very little room to get your hand in there. Very little at all. So this morning I was driving it out, getting ready to go to work, and the front tank went dry and I had to switch it to the back tank, and that was interesting because I couldn't remember where the switch had to be. So because the writing on here is a little bit cryptic, because right now it says off. I assume that off looks like it's over there. It's not. So off is actually here, which is where I thought the rear tank would be, but apparently that's off. That's rear tank, and that's front tank. Now you come up here, and this switch here is front tank, also front tank for some reason, and rear tank. And then you go over here, and this is unknown, other known, unknown, and yet other unknown. So I'll leave it in the center unknown position. It's safer that way. That's how I found it. Not going to mess with it. Got to take apart the directional setup here. Let me turn the ignition on real quick. Click my left directional on. Works fine. If I flick it up to the right, not fine. But if I push up to the right, then I get my directionals. As you can see, they're working. I took apart the switch the other day. Oh, I didn't take the switch apart, but I took it off from the column anyways. That's the little fella down here. This is the business end of it. I'm going to take it off, take it apart, clean it, and see if I can reset it. I may have to reclock this little housing just a hair, because there's nothing really mechanical about this. So I think because this one here has a gap and the other side doesn't, it kind of hits, I think that I can probably just rotate this housing a hair, and that might do the trick. We'll see. Let me see if I can start it for you. We're still having issues with the choke, but that's all right. You'll get the idea if it doesn't stay running. Emergency brake works. Isn't that for It's actually not doing too bad right now. It's a little higher than I'd like it, but I'd rather have it higher than stalling, because when it stalls, that sucks. And let's see, we'll go to, because I'm running on the front tank, I'll flip the front. That's probably about close to what I got in there. I put like 14 gallons in the thing. Isn't that it? That's sounds pretty mean. I'm still skipping a little bit, but it's really kind of running rich because the carb really isn't set up yet. And this is a carb that's in another one of my videos where the truck hasn't been running 10 years. So this carburetor's out of the 10-year-old truck. Well, not out of a 10-year-old truck. The carburetor's out of a truck that's been parked for 10 years. So there's probably countless piles of garbage inside of that thing. Let's see if I can open this thing. One-handed? Probably not. Alright, I'm just going to show you what I got going on here for the linkage. I'll whip it over very gently because I don't want to ding anybody up here. I'd use the hood stick, but the hood stick, as you can see, is in a really stupid spot on these. Right dead in the center. Comes right down to here, which leaves the hood open to about this area here. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm surprised. So I took the little shorty cable out, and then I ran up and around and over, and then I took a little brass linkage piece, and that's what I used to hold the throttle, because originally this one had a setup. I don't know if you can even see that. Yeah, if I come down here you can. The little ball down there used to go to mechanical hard linkage, and the mechanical hard linkage had a rod that came out here and then did all sorts of stuff, which unfortunately would be right in the way with this puppy right here. So I don't think that one's going to go in. I think I'm going to leave this like this, and I'll probably put some sort of tie down to hold this down. I'll probably also use a heavier cable too, because that one there feels like it might be binding a little bit when the engine gets warm. It's probably my go-kart cable melting. Kind of like half-ass fabricated a bracket to hold all that stuff there. But there's a lot of things that I'm gonna change in here. They did an interesting job. They got all the wiring labeled and things like that, but there's no grommets on anything for some reason, which I thought was kind of strange, because they went through a whole lot of work to really put a lot of upgrades into this truck, and then to not do the grommets and have it all burned to the ground just doesn't make a boatload of sense to me. But that's it. That is the 1970 as she sits at the moment, and I've been driving it to work.